The 2K community has been around for a fairly long time. With that being said, we've seen people come and people go. With the conversation of who had the most impact on the 2K community, who is the first person that comes to your mind? Now, obviously everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I was able to come up with 3 people who I feel like would be a very common answer. Grab a snack, get comfortable, because we are going to be talking about who had the biggest impact on the 2K community. This conversation is obviously very opinionated because everyone has their own views on the 2K community, especially when it comes to Park and my team. But putting that all aside, I want this conversation to be the generalization of the 2K community. So people who were very popular and looked at as the face of 2K at one point. So that helped me narrow down my 3 choices, which I think a lot of you guys will agree with. I will voice my opinion at the end of this video, but let's jump right into this. The first person I have on my list is the one and only Cash Nasty Gaming.
100K, okay. 100K, okay. Got 100K, okay.
No need of an introduction. Cash Nasty Gaming's impact on the 2K community will never be questioned. I mean ever. He is referred to as an absolute legend in the 2K community. Probably one of the hardest working content creators in the 2K scene, Cash Nasty grew his image from the ground up. From working long shifts at Walmart to coming home and streaming, this man had a dream and a vision for the YouTube life. He got noticed off of his 2K content, and then the rest is kind of history. A great thing about Cash is that he is still part of the 2K community and still uploads content on it. Even though some people feel a certain way about Cash Nasty now, especially after all that 2K20 gambling incident that went on, you can't deny the amount of things Cash has done for the 2K community over the years, especially when it comes to my team. All of you My Team players out there can probably vouch for this, but you probably looked at Cash as the face of the game mode for some time, and some of us looked at him as the face of the 2K community in general at one point too. Some people may still be thinking that. Nonetheless, Cash definitely deserves to be in this conversation for having the biggest impact on the 2K community over the years, and still to this day. I have to say, Cash Nasty Gaming is a huge inspiration, especially to myself, especially when it comes to work ethic and how you should handle doing YouTube. It's absolutely incredible. The next person in this conversation is Pretty Boy Fredo.
What's up, Flag?
Bro,
What's up?
What's up, Fredo?
What's good? What's up? Y'all boys ready?
What's up, Fredo?
Y'all boys
Yeah,
ready
I'm
to run
ready.
it up? Who on guard, dog?
Yeah.
John? John, I'm about to drop you the off, my straight up, dog. I'm straight up. I'm about to drop you off, bro.
Let's go.
Straight up. Straight up.
I feel like no one on this list needs an introduction, but I think it's safe to say that Pretty Boy Fredo deserves to be in this discussion and in this conversation. I don't know many people who would argue this. Fredo's impact on the 2K community has been incredible and a little unappreciated, I feel. I still remember those days where people were running around parks with SSH tattooed on them and people using his ever so catchy phrases that he used all the time. The life and the energy Fredo brought set him up for success within the 2K community, especially within the My Park scene. Fredo easily was the face of the park for a long stretch of time and was probably the face of 2K at that point too. There was just a time where Fredo was just dominating the entire community. Fredo unfortunately is no longer a part of the 2K community, but for the time he was, his impact will never go unquestioned. Whenever I think of Pretty Boy Fredo in 2K, it always brings me back to the enjoyable times of 2K. Man, I miss those days. Nonetheless, Pretty Boy Fredo deserves to be in this discussion, and he has had a huge impact on the 2K community, even though he isn't a part of it anymore. I definitely appreciate what Fredo did for the community, and I think most of you guys can say the same. It just doesn't really feel the same since he left. I know a lot of you guys are probably wondering how I haven't mentioned this guy already, but last but not least, the most legendary man himself, Smoove.
So before I start my creation, I thought I would show you all the options in the game. So first we're going to start off with the heads. And to my surprise, I don't think that you can edit these heads. And that looks like Mike Wang, doesn't it? But I don't think you can edit the dimensions of these heads. I think once you pick a head, that's it.
It was kind of hard for me to sit here and come up with things to say about this guy because he was that big of an impact on the 2K community and really 2K in general. Most people who are watching this video probably seen their first 2K YouTube video from Smoove. This guy is an absolute legend in the 2K scene. Smoove probably inspired a lot of your favorite content creators to this day. Like everyone else on this list, Smoove is an absolute OG in the community. I'd probably say he's one of the most OGs in the community that are still around. I don't even know how to explain it, but the way he did his videos and the way he did his little commentaries made the videos so entertaining. And they weren't like crazy edits or anything like that. Sure, they were edited, but it's just you could tell that he had a talent for content creating and YouTube in general. It seemed all his videos were super entertaining without having to force anything or having to act fake. The way he did his videos led to his blow up, and the rest is kind of history. Now, I wouldn't say Smoove is completely out of the community because he still uploads the game from time to time. His involvement is close to zero, which I can't really blame him, nor can anyone else. Smoove was the face of the 2K franchise for a very long time, and his impact on the community will never ever be forgotten. An absolute legend. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, obviously it's going to be very opinionated. So you guys aren't going to necessarily agree with this complete list of people, but you guys have your own opinions. And you guys can feel free to put those in the comment section below. I'm actually going to be reading all of them because I'm very interested in what you guys think about this conversation, and if you guys think that I left any people off that you think should have been included. Because as mentioned, everyone has their own opinion and everyone has experienced 2K differently, as well as the community. When it comes to me, the person who I think had the most impact on the 2K community, and really 2K in general, is easily Smoove. No disrespect to anybody else, but Smoove was that guy when I was growing up. I always watched him during earlier 2Ks, and his gameplays and his commentaries were just absolutely amazing. Now, if you guys are wondering, I did do a separate episode on every single one of these people. I did an episode on Fredo, Cash, and I did an episode on Smoove. So if you guys want to watch those videos, I will link them in the description below. They are all in a playlist, so you guys can watch them all together. Now, as I mentioned, if you guys had to pick out of the three on who had the most impact on the 2K community, who would they be? Because I am very curious to see who you guys would pick. For me, as I mentioned, it's Smoove. For some of you guys, it may be different because you guys may have had different experiences with 2K. But nonetheless, that is going to bring the video to an end. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like and make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Also guys, thank you very much for supporting the channel. I appreciate it so much. I'm going to be bringing different kinds of videos to the channel, kind of like this, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Like I said, if you do, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. But that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to talk anymore. Thank you guys very much for watching the video. I'll see you guys next time, and peace.